thanks, Felicia, Kathy, and everybody else at HAYVN for obviously having me on here. I really appreciate it. And I'm just going to get right to it. So I tried to pick a couple of, major items that are sort of happening right now in the Shopify world and on ecom. But there's obviously a lot to talk about and a lot of things that are changing in online shopping and obviously the whole retail environment. So quickly just introduce myself. I'm Debra Lutsky. I'm the founder of Digital Retail Partners. We have been HAYVN members from the beginning and have been really fortunate to obviously see what Felicia and the team have turned the space into, and we're looking forward to returning. We primarily work with D2C brands, so direct to consumer. I would say small to medium size. My background is in more larger corporate retail businesses like Guess Jeans Inc. and Kenneth Cole, but I've really enjoyed working with local brands and smaller retailers and startups. We are Shopify experts, Klaviyo partners, that's our email service provider of choice, and we also work on the Squarespace platform as well as WordPress and other open source platforms. Some of my team who you've probably seen at HAYVN are also on the call. And we're gonna just start off with obviously the biggest question, which is how do businesses pivot quickly right now, given the changing space and the environment of reopening, but obviously not being able to run your business, your retail business at full capacity. So one of the things that Shopify has recently come out with is an express theme, which just to really sum it up quickly, it's basically a website theme that requires very little customization and very little limited product photography in order for it to function. It's mobile first strategy, so it works very well on mobile devices. And one of the things that Shopify introduced in the middle of the COVID pandemic was more services for restaurants and food and beverage businesses. And I'll go into that a little bit more. It lets you control branding basically throughout, as well as appearance in the checkout. I've included a link on this slide with some more information about what the Express theme is, but this is really an easy way to get a website up and going quickly on the platform. The other thing that they've recently introduced is Facebook and Instagram Shop. I'm sure people are familiar with the ability to click on a link in an Instagram feed and it will take you to that website's product page. They have now enabled it so that storefronts can actually allow customers to shop and purchase directly on those social channels. So that is just a really great way to obviously stay there in front of your audience. Shopify has also introduced a new feature for curbside pickup and local pickup, and really skipping the shipping rates. So before that, you kind of had to do a workaround. And this is all enabled through their point of sale app, which is really easy to use, mobile friendly. I've got clients that are using it that don't even really have access to a computer, but they're strictly doing all of this on their iPads and phones. And that is it. That's my contact information. So I just wanted to basically cover a couple of big things that are happening in the industry right now. Obviously, a lot of stores are pivoting from whatever their brick and mortar businesses are to make it possible to shop online seamlessly. Social media integrations for e-commerce are key, and making experience as easy as possible, both from the admin side of managing your business, but also for the customer as well. Let me see. So should I open it up for questions, Kathy?
Hi, it's Felicia again. Yeah, Deb, do you want to go into some more detail about some case studies, and then people can ask questions? I think Virginia posted some questions in chat, so however you want to handle this today.
Okay, I see the question that Virginia just put in. So a question was asked about subscriptions. So it's actually a really good question because Shopify is introducing native subscriptions. It's not available yet, but it is coming a couple months down the road. And if you are interested in subscriptions, there is an app that I like to use. It's called Recharge. You do need a secondary payment gateway. Usually you could just set up a Stripe account, but it integrates seamlessly with Shopify, both on the front end and the back end. And that's a very easy solution for the time being, very inexpensive as well. I think Holly's on. Hi, Holly. What about collection and drop ship? Well, Shopify obviously has a lot of integrations for drop shippers. It's, it really just depends on what you're looking to drop ship for, or I guess if you're looking to go the other way where you're drop shipping for other businesses, there's a lot of third-party platforms out there that are still, that make it possible for you to do that for other retailers and brands. Do you have specifics, Holly, that you're looking for?
Hi, Deb. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. So I'm curious if Shopify, like right now I use other vendors and I have to let them know when I get a sale and ask them to drop ship. I'm wondering if Shopify yet has automation to inform that vendor that they got an order. So like Amazon.
Yeah. So there's a couple ways that you could do that. I mean, without getting super technical, you could potentially set up different locations. But I think the problem with that is you've got probably more vendors than Shopify will allow for locations. In terms of like setting up notifications based on the product that's purchased, that actually wouldn't be too technically difficult to set up. But it would be a custom feature. So I guess the short answer is that doesn't exist yet on Shopify natively, but it wouldn't be terribly difficult to set up.
You could do a workaround, customize it with a workaround. Okay,
yeah,
good to know.
The other thing is with Klaviyo and some of the other email service providers that do AI, you could use their platforms to set up triggers and automations that would allow you to send notifications without probably really even interacting on the Shopify side.
Okay, we can talk more about that because I have each vendor set up with their own collection on Shopify. But so
we can. Yeah, send me a little more information, but for sure, like, I don't think it would be all that challenging to set up some automations for notifications. So I think, is it Melissa?
Melissa.
Yep. Hi. So in terms of competitive advantages of Shopify versus other e-com platforms, kind of starting from the basics is I get asked a lot about why WooCommerce versus Shopify, or WordPress versus Shopify, or any of the other sort of SaaS platforms, Squarespace, Wix. I would say if you already have a WordPress site or you have a site on another web platform, it depends on what you're selling, but typically that's going to be your easiest path to success because you're not moving or migrating to Shopify. But what Shopify does really well, and they've done this pretty much from the start, is integrate with other third-party platforms and marketing channels. So they seem to always have the lead and be the most robust in terms of technology when it comes to integrating with Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, obviously Amazon, any of the other sort of major e-com players out there. And then for that reason, a lot of other app developers and platforms want to integrate with Shopify. So we've got clients on NetSuite, which is, you know, a very robust platform, and it's much more expensive than Shopify, but a lot of the programming doesn't integrate with it. So I would say the biggest competitive advantage is just the level of integrations that are available within Shopify. From a CMS standpoint, so the ability to make changes without a developer and the admin, Shopify is fairly user friendly, and you know, it gives a lot of control to non-developers. It doesn't have solutions for every single thing you would want to do without getting into, you know, making more technical changes, but for the most part, it's very plug and play, and it allows you to set up a website without, you know, a large knowledge base or working with a development team. And when I compare it to other platforms such as Squarespace or WordPress, I start with the history of those platforms, which is they were primarily, or they were started for blogging. So what WordPress does very well is obviously it's a blogging platform. And the same with Squarespace, even though it is a SaaS platform. But they have really great features for content. They have really great features for integrating rich pins and other types of content into the website. Whereas what Shopify started truly as an e-commerce first platform, and they do that very well. I don't think cost really plays that much into the decision making anymore. There used to be some comparisons out there about hosting fees, but I truly think that it's pretty much the same across the board, given that you know, you're either paying the monthly fees to Shopify or you're paying a developer to help you maintain an open source platform.
And is it the market leader, or how does Shopify, you know,
Yeah, so
in terms of being, you know, in a leadership role?
as of right now, Shopify actually is the #2 e-commerce channel in the world, behind Amazon. Amazon is #1. They used to be #3. eBay used to be #2. They have just taken over the market for their platform, and obviously they introduced their POS app, which helps, you know, brick and mortar stores and people with retail stores, or even if you're doing just events in person, integrate with having your website as one. So that is something that a lot of the other platforms, and especially WordPress, do not offer, and that has really helped them catapult into being the leader.
Good, thank you.
And then Kathy asked a question, and maybe you answered this really before, because she said if she's just selling downloadable digital materials, is Squarespace fine?
Yeah, I mean, we use Squarespace. It's not, I think it really depends on what your product is, and obviously how far you want to go with the website. Squarespace is a challenging platform for developers because of the fact that the templates don't give a lot of flexibility. So whereas Shopify has its own code called Liquid, and it really, even though it is a SaaS platform, it gives the developer a lot of access to customize and do whatever they want. Squarespace is basically the opposite. So I think if you've got a simple sort of product or a digital product, Squarespace is also a good fit.
Deb, do you have any like stories of like what people are doing, like any interesting pivots that you've seen in the retail world?
I mean, we've definitely had a lot of calls from companies that are looking to either make their websites more robust and offer more features. I'm getting a lot of requests for personalization. So that's definitely, it was a trend, it has been a trend, but being able to personalize products or make it easier to do that online. I think that's happening across a lot of different categories. I think the biggest thing that comes up for a lot of merchants and business owners is shipping, because Amazon makes it sound really easy. They offer free shipping, they offer 2-day if you're Prime, and that's not an easy task for a lot of small businesses to compete with. So we're definitely getting a lot of requests about how to ramp up their operational side and logistical side of the business. And I think where I always tell our merchants to go is you may not be able to ship as fast or as cheaply as Amazon, but what you can offer is that customer service level. And whether it's a niche product or being able to pick up the phone and call a customer service is basically everything right now.
Mm-hmm. We can
I
relate.
think I missed a question.
Yeah, Annie had a long question here. I don't know if you want to say it out loud, Annie, and chat or unmute yourself. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Gabby. Yeah, I have 2 questions. They're pretty quick. I've already invested in Squarespace because at the time I was advised that would be the best mobile method. Prior to that, I was on WordPress.
Okay.
But Shopify seems really good in the marketing department, and I'm wondering if there's something that you could recommend in the Shopify that wouldn't be so prohibitive with another prescription, because it seems to be integrating really quickly and well as with Facebook. And the question 2 is, I create a custom product, so service is a big part of what I provide. And is there any app that works with Shopify that would be like an instant Zoom or an instant Book Me Now, where they could see the product and they're like, yeah, and I can give them like 15 minutes of a free consult? Like, how does that work? It seems like a lot of stuff out there.
So well, I'll take one step back, because Squarespace does offer a scheduling feature. I don't know if that's what you're looking for. It sounds like it might be something slightly different, but
I've seen it, but I don't know how to use it, and I don't know if it integrates that Zoom. Like, I don't know what I don't know. But
okay.
That,
yeah, so I think I can get someone on my team to send you some documentation, but Squarespace does have a scheduling feature. I believe it's native, so there is some functionality that exists within the platform, but you can also integrate it with another scheduling platform like Calendly or Acuity or one of the other schedulers.
yeah, I've tried that and I've gotten lost in the weeds.
Okay.
I know that they exist. That's why I asked the question.
Yeah, I would say, it might be limited, and maybe that's whatever you're trying to do isn't really working. We do use a program on Shopify for scheduling, and it's similar to what you would probably find if you were scheduling a hairdressing appointment or a massage online. And it's a booking system. You can basically set it up to have different services, and those services obviously have costs. And instead of adding the item to their cart, they add the service with the cost and the time slot and the date selected. So that is something that we can set up on Shopify. I'm not sure if that's available on Squarespace, but it's probably a much simpler version of that.
Yeah, I was talking with Suzanne Stillwell, part of HAYVN, yesterday, and she said that this is more in line with what a psychologist would do, like an instant Zoom. It's not like a service or a gift card. I mean, it could be, but it's like that face-to-face live versus the step of initiating. something.
I mean, you
Yeah.
could set it up in a way that, so I guess where I'm going with this is, let's say, if you have a Zoom account, you could probably have a standing call line for Zoom.
Mhm.
And then after the person makes the purchase, they get an email notification with that link to the line, and they can
Okay.
call in if it's a 15-minute consultation, but they don't get that Zoom link until after they've placed the order. I
Okay.
believe that that would probably be your simplest like
That
MVP
makes sense.
approach. And you could probably do that on Squarespace because they have email notifications as well.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Does Shopify integrate with CRM systems? So, yes. Are you talking about like email or more of like the robust ones like HubSpot?
Hi, it's Virginia.
Hi.
Hi. Yeah, I was talking about the more, because you talked about personalization, and so my mind immediately went to CRM, where it would kind of how does it integrate with them? You know,
Yes. I mean, in terms of the platforms, there's integrations with a lot of platforms, but one that I'll point out is not working with Shopify is MailChimp. That was as of last year, they cut ties. And Shopify actually introduced their own email marketing service probably about a month ago. It is built in, but it's very limited. So it's really just best for people that don't need to send a lot of emails. They don't have a very big list. But what Shopify does is obviously the CRM programs have an API that syncs the data with Shopify's order management system, and it pulls out everything from abandoned cart information to purchases to if they haven't come on the site in a while. So it is pulling everything that's happening on the front end of the site into that CRM program. And then depending on what you want those triggers to be, you can set up workflows. We use Klaviyo, which is a Boston-based email service provider, and that has really kind of taken the lead in terms of both their AI. I think their costs are very reasonable for what they provide to their customers. There's definitely a lot of other e-com focused platforms such as Retention Science, and we've got a couple clients that use HubSpot, although I feel like that's very pricey for, it's more of a lead CRM program.
okay, thank you.
Yeah. I think the good thing about like email service providers now is that in order for them to really compete in the market, they have to offer a lot of other integrations. So one thing you'll notice is that SMS or text messages is becoming very popular as another kind of communication vehicle outside of email. And a lot of these platforms are offering that in conjunction with email marketing because it's a very much the same type of communication. So I would definitely, if you're thinking about CRM and what that strategy looks like, I would also consider, do they offer SMS? Do they offer the ability to send text messages? And what is their price for that? Because a lot of these companies charge by the sends, and that's where the costs start to add up.
Do you have one that you like better than another?
I mean, Klaviyo is definitely where we took their master program, so we were trained on the platform. They offer SMS. They offer some other features that are really focused on e-com businesses like back in stock. So you basically can place a script on the site that allows you to capture waitlist data and then send triggers when your inventory comes back in stock. It's really kind of taking the place of a lot of different apps that are out there, and that obviously just makes everyone's lives easier with monthly costs and then also maintenance.
Mm-hmm. Okay,